Wargaming has one massive PC game with 70 million registered users. That's World of Tanks. They're seeing server loads of 1 million concurrent users. That same game, that same free-to-play model is coming to the 360, and it's also going to be free. The Xbox 360 has always been a hotbed for shooters. Gears of War, Halo, Call of Duty. All of those games run great on a 360. That community of players, that install base, is familiar with them.
The firing, aiming, zooming, stuff like that, we really went with console conventions. You know, everybody's played Call of Duty, everybody's played Battlefield, and those are the control schemes we wanted to model it after, so that people picked it up and were, you know, immediately successful in driving a tank.
We're trying to make the actions that make players successful as smooth and as seamless as possible. Like, I consider success if people don't say, well, these analog controls are great, if they just forget and they're like, oh, I'm gonna totally capture the base, or, you know, that's what I'm after. I want them to forget they're holding a piece of plastic in their hand.
There's never been analog inputs to World of Tanks. There's 70 million people who've only had a keyboard and mouse to play with. Putting it onto an Xbox 360 controller with limited real estate, that was a project. Playing it felt all right. Being able to adjust the throttle with the left stick, being able to turn the turret with the right stick, it felt like World of Tanks. It felt good.
Like, at first it's, let's put an analog input. Like, it sounds kind of simple. Like, the more you push on a stick, the more horsepower goes towards the treads, and the more you go forward or turn. Or it's interesting because so much of what playing a tank is like was really built around really discrete forward, backward, left, and right. So it's more than just analog. We're also, like, you know, up and to the left. Did you do that from the start, or were you going full bore when you decided to do that?
One of the hardest things about driving a tank is, you know, your body can be going one way while your turret is facing the other way. And, you know, being able to communicate that at player, allowing options for them to auto-rotate back, locking the camera in sniper mode so people aren't getting all disoriented, all little tweaks that we've been making to make the game more accessible.
World of Tanks plays best on a very capable modern PC. A 7-year-old 360 with 512 megs of RAM, that is not a modern PC anymore. So there were some limitations in the graphics. There was a lot of aliasing, a lot of jaggies that we saw in the game that we played, especially looking down the barrel of the gun. Zoomed across the map, you could tell that you were on a 360, and it wasn't as rich of a graphical experience as you could see on a PC. So why not the next Xbox? Or better yet, what would it take to get this game on 360 onto the next Xbox system?
And new consoles come out, they're very, very expensive, there's very few games. Penetration is very low to start, so a free-to-play game like this, you need a lot of users online, so there's always battles to be had. So it made sense to start with a console we knew, the 360. We shipped multiple games on it. An install base that was the biggest of any console, and then set our sights on the future when that's a little bit more known and a little bit more robust and has a good user base.
The build that we played today wasn't final. We've been told that they're gonna work on some of those issues that we noticed. It's to be expected with hardware this old. This is really the first AAA free-to-play title that's coming to the console generation, albeit late in the generation cycle, but this is a big deal. This is a new way for people to consume a game on a console.
Wargaming, we look at the free-to-play space, you know, it's pretty interesting. We're not just trying to pilfer all the money we can out of people. What we really want to do is create an environment where everybody has a great time playing. It's everybody's got an opportunity to win. The purchases enhance the experience, but they don't necessarily, you know, allow you to buy a win or anything along those lines.
What we will be, you know, monetizing, it's more of a convenience and exploration and vanity type things, right? So they can players can play for a premium account, which gives them an extra earn on their XP and their silver, their in-game stuff, so they earn more for every battle. And then there's the premium tanks, which aren't better tanks, they're better earning tanks in some cases, but they're not better fighting tanks. They're balanced with the rest of the tanks.
There's no barrier to entry to start playing World of Tanks on the 360. It's free to download, it's free to play. You can give them money if you want to. The way that could backfire for Wargaming West is if too many people want to play it. We all watch SimCity crumble under the load of too many people wanting to experience it at the same time. That was a $60 title. This one being free, Wargaming West could end up with orders of magnitude more players on their servers than they're expecting.
Wargaming as a company has broken records on peak concurrent users on their server clusters, okay? So the company as a whole is very knowledgeable on what kind of cluster needs to be put together to have a great experience for the consumer.
One of our #1 goals when we started this project is don't touch the servers. Because it's one, it wasn't our expertise. Two, they just work. And so leave the server alone, make all the changes on the client. But the Big World servers it's really what the PC has developed and made very, very stable over the past 3 years.
There have been situations where servers have been overwhelmed, and these are the kind of things that we will avoid. We're going to have a very robust server architecture deployed immediately. We're anticipating a hugely successful game. But there's still a matter of seeing how some of these new components that we're putting into the system, how they respond and how much bandwidth it takes up.
The thing I want to stress most about our trip to visit Wargaming West was that this game was fun. I got that same pleasurable sensation that I got from playing Battlefield 1943 when it came out on the 360. You know, the good thing is that, take it or leave it, it's there to play. You don't have to give them any money to test out their systems. If it's not fun, people are going to walk away. If Wargaming West can meet the demand of all of these Xbox 360 users coming to play their game, this could be a really exciting title for an aging Xbox 360.